And Happy New Year, of course.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, glad we could be here to honor this sometimes arbitrary sort of shift in the calendar where, it's just an opportunity to pause and to recollect and assess and review and sort of bring things into a different perspective and focus and that sense of returning to center. So it's nice to, it's not, I really take, even the end of the year as well. I really like to do a thorough review of my year and kind of pause and reflect. And I work on a New Year's intention, which I haven't yet completely honed, and I'm hoping to do that with you over the next couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to bring a lot of thought and presence to this transition. So just a little intro here. I mentioned just now when we were chatting that we'll be having 3 days where we meet 8 p.m. Try to finish around 9 so we're not too sleepy. And we'll have a similar flow to the sessions where today I have a little intro, but we'll do a little settling, arriving meditation at the start. And we'll do a little bit of a talk on the topic, the theme, connection, presence, and balance. And then we'll do a mindful movement, some sort of embodied practice. And then we'll sit and do meditation. And then I want to allow a little time for reflection and discussion. So actually, it's a lot to fit into an hour. But I think we can do it. And in terms of any Zoom etiquette, it's up to you if you want to be on camera, off camera, that's up to you. It's pretty casual, especially if it's just us right now. But I usually tell people to remain muted during the practices, the mindfulness and the meditation practices. But feel free to add any questions or thoughts or comments into the chat as they occur to you. And then, we'll have some pauses to take questions, to review things. And then, of course, the discussion and reflection at the end of things as well. I see Charlene's joining us. Welcome.
Hi there.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So, silence your phones if possible, limit distractions, protecting this time for yourself as you would do in another kind of retreat. Maybe sometimes I let others know, like my husband or my son, that I'm not, I'm busy, I'm accessible. I have my own hack where I have like a white noise machine that I put outside the door when it's kind of like the tell, like usually it means I'm teaching or I'm meditating. So, just something to think of if you're not used to kind of making this time for yourself. It's useful to do those kinds of things, can help a lot. All right, so return to center. Why return to center? Why did I even want to make a class around this idea or give a name to this retreat? Even though this is the season of New Year's intentions, resolutions, goals, I find that things really never go according to our plans. The best laid plans. I think there's some kind of saying in there about that. So there's so many disruptions in life, things we can't control, challenges, obstacles, and there's the juggle that's required of life. There's emotional stress, anxiety, grief, loss. There's what's going on in geopolitical concerns, personal situations. All kinds of things can throw us off balance, off kilter, lead us into sort of unexpected territory where suddenly we might notice and wonder, like, where are we? So we kind of get this opportunity to orient a little bit through a lot of these practices that we'll be doing. And also having these 3 days here together is an opportunity to gather some momentum, to kind of have this consistent showing up for yourself, a little extra accountability and motivation, doing it together as a group, the virtual community. And the end result is to recalibrate and start the new year with balance, resilience, presence, those kinds of things. And I mentioned that I have a little workbook. All right, let me get to screen share. Just a moment to go in and get that. I'm going to show you the workbook just in case so you can see what it looks like. I see we have another person joining. Welcome. We're just kind of getting oriented and starting stuff. So yeah, this is just in case. I did send out a bit of a workbook today in the email and in the online group, the online course rather. And, there's a little like message, there's some discussion. We'll talk about this today, why it's hard to make a practice stick. And then there's the section for you to write a little bit if you'd like. And I'll mention these questions when we do the section on reflection at the end, the discussion reflection. So for each day, I have a page, one on connection, one on presence, and one on balance. And then there's a few more tips and things like that in here. So that's what the workbook looks like. It's always helpful, if you want to just print out these pages too, that's okay. If you wanted to actually write in the computer or printing out as well. So, yeah, so that's the workbook. I think now we might do a little arrival meditation, just kind of settling in. I like to do a very short, 3-4 minute practice. So, there's a lot of sound around you. You might want to mute yourself during the meditation. So, coughing and other kinds of disruptions can occur. And we'll just take a little pause as we're starting, as we're coming together here. And I'm going to invite you to find a comfortable posture, first of all. Take a moment. We don't need to be seated on the floor. You can be in a chair, you can be in a comfy sofa, you can be lying down, whatever's comfortable for you. You can turn your video off, on, that's entirely up to you. Just a very short little settling practice. And as you kind of shift into a comfortable posture, you can also close your eyes, or you can leave them open with a soft gaze. You want to start to just tune in. This is a little moment to tune in, to connect, to start that process of arriving and connecting. And it might help too to take a hand and place it on your heart or your belly or both. And to literally get in touch. Just starting to turn inwards and noticing what's alive for you right now as we start this return to center retreat. Maybe there's a buzz of excitement. Maybe there's some nervousness. Maybe there's remnants of the holidays still kind of coming through the body. Just starting to lend an ear, listening, getting a little curious about your experience right here, right now. Sit and know you're sitting. Getting a sense of your overall body, the sensations in the body. Maybe beneath your hands, you might notice the movement of the breath. Just noticing how the hands can support the flow of breath, can help you to inhabit your body. Just seeking connection, being curious about where you're at right now. With this warmth and kindness, offering support and care to yourself. Just pausing to cultivate curiosity, to tune in with a loving presence for all that arises. And as you hear the bell ringing there, taking a moment to pause at the end of our pause, in the beginning of our retreat, to just notice how you feel after only a few moments. You can let your hands come away from your body. You can open your eyes, make any movements that might feel good to you. It doesn't take much. One of the wonderful things about meditation, it doesn't take much long. You don't need to sit for 30 minutes to have a little shift, a little more presence or connection. And I think it's important to start where you're at, making space for whatever is here just as it is, not how you even wish it would be. A lot of stuff around the New Year's is about how we wish it would be. And we'll go into that a little bit in here too. But I think it's important to honor where you're actually at. And even as we walk towards, the life we want to have, how we wish things to be, really connecting to how things are, how you are. That's the idea of connection. And also really having that curiosity, that willingness to be with whatever's arising, to turn towards whatever's arising, and it might be a mixture. It's often a mixture of things. And that's also a kind of connection with heart, bringing that kindness, that self-compassion to this starting place. And anyone who's worked with me even once has probably heard me talk about self-compassion and how important I think it is in so many things, but also in sort of sustaining a meditation or movement, consistent practice, a daily practice. And as you're here with me now, this time of year too, there's usually the great disruption of various holidays, December and New Year's and things like that. And this is often time when we sort of feel like we're generally getting back on track just in our daily life. But there's also the possibility that you're here because you haven't had much of a regular practice for a while. And that's actually really normal. This is as natural as the wandering of the mind, for there to be some disruption sometimes to consistent practice. And to step back into practice, step back into connection, we have to really kind of give ourselves some grace and some self-compassion, some kindness, treating ourselves as we might treat a dear friend. It's really one of the better definitions, I think, of self-compassion. And self-compassion is something that can be problematic with making a regular practice stick. And I'm going to give you the 2-minute synopsis of what I often spend a whole day on in my other Path to Presence retreat, about some of those reasons why it can be hard to make practice stick. As I share my screen again, I'm not going to get too fancy with the slideshow. I'm just going to share it like that. Is that okay? Actually, maybe I can do it. So I usually talk about these 3 reasons why it's hard to make a regular practice. I say meditation practice here, but it's the same thing for something like Qi Gong or movement practice too, even like an exercise routine. I think any self-care routine here. It can be unrealistic expectations about meditation or about yourself, or sometimes you need to overcome limiting beliefs. And those last 2 are really about self-compassion, where you might have big hopes and dreams, and want to give it your all. Like sometimes the best intentions, want to give it your all, want to really throw yourself into it, try to meditate for an hour every day or 30 minutes twice a day right from the get-go. And that's often not realistic and actually not very kind to yourself or compassionate in that way. So there is a real important piece to starting where you're at. and overcoming limiting beliefs. This speaks to how hard it can be to really set up the boundaries for your own needs and looking after yourself, feeling that you're worthy of the self-care practices to really kind of fill your teapot before you pour cups of tea to others. But the expectations about meditation, I have my couple of slides here where we get to look at some of the common myths. I also always like to start a lot of things, mentioning some of the myths about meditation, as we're all coming to this with different backgrounds and experiences here. There's a lot of myths about how to meditate. You have to do it in the morning. You have to sit cross-legged on the floor. You have to close your eyes. If you think too much, it doesn't count. If you fall asleep, you didn't do it right. Right? There's myths about who can meditate. You have to be calm already. You can't have ADHD or what we call monkey mind, that mental chatter. Or you must be religious or Buddhist or spiritual to do it. Or you have to be good at sitting still and being silent. These are things we can think must be true a little bit, but actually aren't really the case. And myths about the results of meditation. Maybe you're coming to meditation hoping it might teach you to feel nothing, or that it's always going to be relaxing and make you happy and feel calm, or it might change who you are completely. It's always going to be profound or always make you feel better. This all or nothing thinking can get problematic, as we all know. So there's a lot, like some of the more common myths I look at is this idea that meditation is pure void, absence of thought, complete stillness, right? Most of us have wandering minds. This is a natural part of being human, and that includes a lot of self-talk and thoughts and things. So we're just working with, and again, being curious, bringing that quality of attention and presence to our experience in the moment. There might be moments of pure bliss and enlightenment, but you're going to be disappointed and not able to stick with a regular practice if the expectation is that you should be feeling enlightened and pure bliss all the time. The idea that meditation is lazy or makes you selfish or self-indulgent in some way kind of speaks to the limiting beliefs sometimes that that can make it hard to really kind of provide self-care for yourself. There's a lot of studies that show that actually that self-care can make people much more impactful and effective in all that they do and their relationships as well. And this one you'll hear me say again, there is one correct way to meditate is definitely a myth. So as we are feeling things out throughout these couple of days, just remembering to really hold that heartfelt loving awareness, that presence, and that curiosity. There's not one correct way, so you get to explore what works for you. And while meditation is often simple, sitting quietly, it's rarely really easy, especially to show up consistently. So that's what we're going to try to do a little bit of over the next few days. Yeah, so we want to connect with whatever's happening in this moment and be curious also about what you might have to let go of to connect a little more and to return to center. And that's some of the questions that I ask about in the workbook in the beginning is like, what do you have to let go of? Something to think about. And in the New Year's sense, as you look back on the last year, 2023, what are places you can let go of. There's a great quote from Ajahn Chah. Do everything with a mind that lets go. If you let go a little, you will have a little peace. If you let go a lot, you will have a lot of peace. If you let go completely, you will have complete peace. So remembering that there's some letting go with all of this too. Pause for any questions, thoughts, comments before we move on to some movement. If you have anything, you're welcome to unmute yourself, or you can always put stuff into the chat at any time. No, that's good. So I wanted to do a little bit of Qi Gong with us today. today is a little more movement. And as we have this idea of returning to center when we're working a little bit more with the body today, um, sometimes it helps us out. A lot of these practices of finding a center or finding a balance can be helpful to kind of explore what is the periphery. And so with the movements, especially the Qigong movement, where we're really kind of moving the body, twisting, turning up and down, kind of reaching into all these directions, it can have a result of actually making us feel more centered, more grounded, more present in that way. All right. Has anyone never done any Qigong before? Completely okay if you haven't. Everyone's had a little bit of experience with it. Okay, it's good to know. We're gonna move into a standing position. All these, maybe like 15, 20 minutes of movement here, and it'll all be standing. I'm gonna attempt to set up the computer so you can still see me well. So this is the part that despite years of teaching, I haven't ever managed to get very good at. How to light things and make it so you can see me. I think that might work though. See. Okay. So we're gonna start just standing a little bit comfortably. I'm gonna take my big clunky bracelet off. If you have something like this, you might wanna remove it too, especially as we'll do a little, the wrists might be contacting the body a little bit. So as we come to a standing posture, you wanna have your feet about hip width apart, parallel, toes pointing forward. And just take a moment to kind of feel into the ground, feel how the ground supports you. And you want to just kind of let things soften. A lot of Qigong, the internal exercise, involves fluid, smooth, circular movements. So we also kind of want to start with this opening to the fullness of the circle, the softness of the joints, kind of preparing the mind for this. We're going to start with slightly more vigorous, about as vigorous as it gets in my Qigong, more vigorous movements, just to kind of discharge any stress. Thinking about that idea of letting go of any of the tension. So we start with actually a little bit of shaking. So we can start with gentle shaking by just kind of bending your knees, letting your ankles soften, kind of feel the sponginess, the knees, the ankles, the feet, contact with the ground. Maybe let your hips kind of get involved, feel the softness in the hips. Let the shake kind of work its way up from the ground. Let your arms kind of start to move, the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders, without much effort. Just this gentle kind of up and down, a little bit of shaking. And you can let your head hang and get involved. You can see what it's like to shake a little more vigorously or faster, or a little more slowly with perhaps greater listening. And kind of discharging maybe stress from the day, the week, the month, the year, the decade, whatever might be ready to let go of. Just kind of shaking it off, like how a dog shakes all the water off of its body when it comes out. And one more thing you can add to this if you want is you can do a gentle lifting of the heels, lifting of the heels so they kind of tap the ground when you land, when you bend down. Just a little one. If that's too much, you don't need to do that. You can let your heels just stay on the ground. Get this kind of nice bouncy feeling, waking up the chi in the body. Just a little bit more at your own pace here. Maybe already starting to reflect what's ready to be let go of here. A couple of big sighs might help that too. Exhaling out anything you're ready to let go of. And then let the movements get a little smaller, a little more subtle, and coming back to just standing for a moment. Let yourself arrive slowly and notice the buzzing, the tingling, the way the chi body has woken up, the energetic body. And so we'll do one more movement that's a good sort of warm up. And in this movement, in addition to bending our knees up and down, we'll also just be rotating the torso from side to side. And in so much of Qi Gong, the movement comes from the lower dantian, which is beneath the navel, the space of the lower belly. And so as we do this movement, the dantian is swinging to the right and the left. The abdomen, the torso, is really what's guiding the movement. So you bend your knees in the middle and swing over to one side. Bend your knees in the middle, swing over to the other side. And this is, of course, preparing the ground for knocking on Heaven's Gate. So this is really what makes the movement, as you do it a little more thoroughly, you let the arms kind of come out to the side. Arms sort of are an afterthought. We don't have to actually raise the arms or do anything. They're just kind of flowing along. As we rotate over to the next side, the arms start to twist back. You can let your elbows bend and feel the hands on your waist. You might feel the back of your hands, or the wrists, on your low back, waking up Heaven's Gate, this important point in Chinese medicine, acupuncture, Qi Gong, where the energy is stored, the essence of the yin and the yang. And we're working with the waistline. The front hand is wrapping across the abdomen. So we're working with the center as it pertains to our midsection, our waistline. Notice the breath. Can you let go a little? Maybe the shoulders could soften. You can close your eyes and tune in, or you can leave them open. Keep your balance. You can also turn your head to look side to side. Helps the movement. And then we're also going to just let this start to slow down. Don't bend the legs as much. Let the arms come to rest, eventually beside your sides. And just pause and notice, connecting with the body. And we're going to stay with that connection to the midsection, the abdomen, this lower dantian area, by doing a move called Pebble in the Pond. And in this move, we get to bring the hips back as the arms glide out in front. And then they come around and draw back in to the center. So this is one I'll just do a few times from a few different directions. Pebble in the pond, nice circular movement. So as the hips glide back, palms face down, hands glide in front, and then they just make a nice circle coming back to the midsection. Pinky edge of the hands leading as you go out. And we can synchronize the breath here as well, exhaling as you bend forward, Inhale, gathering nourishment. This is a good practice for the spleen, the digestion. It's also one of the centers of Chinese medicine and cosmology. So just starting to flow into your own breath, your own rhythm, your own pace, letting everything be soft and rounded, hips gliding back, knees are bent. Inhale, straightening up as the hands come in. Pebble in the pond, feel the ripple flowing outward. See the roundness of the ripple across the face of the pond. And this nourishment that we gather for the spleen in the middle helps us to stand straight with dignity and integrity. At the end, as the hands come in, we come to stand for a moment. I'm just going to show you a different angle. Moving slowly, connecting the body and the breath. Let it be effortless and smooth and fluid, which might require letting go a little more, or maybe a little more peace. You can even slow it down a little. The breath start to slow down and deepen. Doing one or two more rounds at your own pace. And then as you're ready, coming to stand, pausing once again. And we'll connect a lot of these movements with another sense of the center. The center, we started working with this lower abdomen, which helps us to have this integrity, this uprightness, this dignity. And a person in the Chinese medicine, martial arts, Qi Gong world, person is connecting heaven and earth. The yin of earth, the wisdom of the yang of the heaven, and between them is this ability to be upright on the earth. So we'll do this practice drawing down the heavens. In this practice, you just need enough space to reach out to either side. And so we let the inhale, the arms up, out to the side. And when they're about shoulder width, you turn the palms face up and bring them over top of your head, letting the shoulders remain soft. And then as you exhale, you bring the arms down the front of the body, palms facing the body. Just nice and slow. And imagine the palms connecting with the energy of the earth, or they come back to your side, and you inhale again, bringing them up towards the heaven. Flipping the palms to gather the energy of the heavens, the yang. And maybe you even start to feel some warmth from your hands as they flow over the body. Connecting to the earth. And like you're making big circles, slow circles with your arms, with your hands. And as the arms come back down the side, I like to bend my knees a little, push into the ground as the arms come out. All the clarity, the insights that the heavens allow, the sunlight, the nourishment, the warmth, activity of the yang, drawing that down through the body, anchoring it into the earth. Inhaling all the way up. Exhaling all the way down. And see if you can keep your shoulders soft and relaxed. If you have shoulder injury or pain, you can just bring it in front a little bit. Maybe don't go as high. I have some shoulder limitations myself, so we can always modify things. And just taking a few more rounds at your own pace. Feel how the body is this conduit for the energies of yin and yang between the heaven and the earth. And this practice is meant to harmonize those energies. And then finally, when you cut to the next breath and letting the hands pause at your side. Our final practice for the Qi Gong. Take one hand and place it. If you want to mirror me, you can take your right hand and place it in that lower part of your belly, the lower dantian, beneath the navel, the palm facing up. Like you're holding a flower or a gift here, offering it for the navel. And the other arm, the left arm, will sweep out to the side. You can turn to watch the hand as it comes up overhead. And then it comes straight down the midline. Thumb facing toward you. And as it reaches the end, it switches places. And the next arm, the right arm, comes out to the side, and you can follow it up overhead and right down your center, right down the center line of the body. If you had a spine on the front, you'd be going down your spine. Just continuing the next arm, inhaling it up and exhaling down the center. You can also bend your knees here as you inhale up. And let your vision go side to side, shifting all the way to the left, to the right, finding our center this way. This is a very simple practice that's very powerful. If you're needing a really quick kind of grounding, centering, I recommend this practice. And also let it flow. Let it flow. And just a few more times at your own pace. And when you come to the end again, just pausing, just standing. Notice how you feel now. Sealing in the energy of our practice by placing both hands beneath the navel and just rotating clockwise a couple of times, storing all the energy that we've created in that essential pot, the cauldron that is the dantian. And then you can take your seat and we'll practice a meditation. Hopefully everyone's feeling present, maybe a little calmer. We're really going to continue to work with the body and this caring presence, this compassionate connection as we do a meditation now that is a kind of body scan. It uses a little bit of loving kindness, a little gratitude, a little compassion for the body, no matter what state it might happen to be in. And we get to also connect with the felt sense of aliveness in the body. This practice is like an internal shower, removing some of the blockages or the gunk of everyday life that obscures our aliveness and helps the body feel more at ease. And we're just going to sweep our attention from the top to the bottom through the body, meeting our aliveness and whatever else arises, and sending a bit of care, compassion, tenderness, presence, and compassion for any discomfort in the body, any aches or pains, any shame or feelings of inadequacy, treating whatever you notice, sensations, pain, stories, feelings, with as much kindness as you can, acknowledging whatever else arises and allowing it to flow without getting stuck. And if you have trouble connecting to specific areas in the body, that's not unusual. Just allow your intention to linger. Invite the area to soften, to relax. Invite in the breath and look for that feeling of aliveness. And the body scan helps us to show up, to be present, to pay attention and notice. Just opening and feeling, sensing and observing. And I'll use some loving kindness phrases here, which are like intentions, well wishes, not necessarily affirmations, but often expressed with the phrase of may I be at ease, may I be happy, may I be strong. So feel free to use your own phrases. I'll suggest some things as we go, but feel free to use what phrases occur to you too. Yeah, so okay, go ahead and get settled. Shifting things around. Just take a moment to arrive here. I'm switching the sound, so you might be able to hear the bell a little if you're wondering why the sound changed. And just take some moment to have a sense of general awareness of your whole body after this movement practice. It might be easier to connect with the whole body, that subtle sense of pulsing aliveness. Maybe you feel the pressure at your seat or your back or the pressure of the ground. Notice these points of contact. Notice the whole body breathing. Release any need to control the breath. And then let your attention land on the top of your head, like putting on a hat. Not unlike putting on a hat, maybe even awakening some sensation, some warmth. And just sensing into the crown of your head. This is another sort of center, especially in the Ayurvedic and chakra systems. Also the first part of your body that comes into being through the birth canal, typically. But not an area we often spend time focusing on or connecting with. So just being curious about the top of your head, maybe sensing into your scalp, noticing any sensations here. May my scalp be happy. Extend some loving kindness. May my head be free from tension or pain. And as we progress through the body, if you do encounter pain, you can send it a welcome, a friendly greeting, welcoming the sensations with compassion, letting it know you're welcome here. There's space for you. So as you flow from the head and the scalp, just coming into Sense the fullness of the brow, the space around your eyes. And just connecting with the eyes themselves. Maybe a sense of aliveness here. May my eyes be strong. If you encounter any tension, inviting it to soften, letting it be just as it is. And behind the eyes and through the nose flow the sinus passages, sometimes obstructed in this winter time. May my sinuses be open and clear. Just connecting as we slowly move through the body, offering any messages of compassion or friendliness that feel right to you. Sensing into the temples, the cheekbones, into the mouth. And you might just notice if there's tension, gritting of the teeth, the tongue is tense. Invite it to soften. May my tongue live with ease. May my mouth be happy. Maybe even gratitude to the mouth and tongue for all it allows you to do, talking, eating, communicating, the pleasures of life. And sensing into the fullness of the jaw. May my jaw be at ease. Noticing the ears, just connecting. Maybe there's some gratitude for the basic senses, of which hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, many are located in the head and face. May I continue to hear with ease. And letting your awareness flow further down into the throat, the neck, the sometimes vulnerable part of the body. What is it like to attend to it with a little extra care and compassion? There's space for you, whatever is arising. Letting your awareness flow into the chest, the clavicle, the tops of the shoulders. Maybe you even feel some shifting as the shoulders start to soften and relax. Sensing into the fullness of your shoulders. They may have just had a good workout with the Qi Gong. Maybe there's some discomfort or some easier connection to sensation. What's a message of love you'd like to offer your shoulders? What do they need to hear? Inviting the shoulder blades to sink down towards the earth, letting the shoulders fall away from the ears. And you can let your attention continue to flow down through the arms, the big muscles of the upper arms, the biceps. May my arms be strong. Take your time. You can go slower or faster than me if it's not the right pace. Flowing into the elbows, the lower arms. Just notice this aliveness in the wrists and into the hands. All that our hands do for us. May my hands be happy. An extra invitation to let the hands rest. As we sit in meditation, there's nothing to do nowhere to go. We're simply resting and being and encouraging this connection. Feel how there is a connection now from the hands, through the arms, all the way up to the top of the head. These parts of the inner experience of the body which we have traversed. And flowing back up into the heart space, from the hands to the heart, the chest. You might notice the rise and flow of the breath. May my heart be at ease. Invite the chest to open. Maybe some gratitude toward the heart for its ceaseless beating. And deeper than the skin and muscle, the organs, the lungs as well. May my lungs always be flexible. Letting your awareness travel into the rib cage. Just noticing maybe the spaces between ribs, noticing sensations and aliveness here, perhaps the movement of breath. As we return to center in the body, we're sort of sitting inside our rib cage. Maybe we send some gratitude for the support that the rib cage offers and the whole skeletal system. May my ribs be strong and healthy. And as you move your awareness down through the rib cage, you might also recognize all the digestive organs, the stomach and spleen, the liver and gallbladder. Invite all these organs to live with ease. As the breath flows, feel they have all they need, all the space, all the nourishment. And letting your awareness be 360 in the body, also noticing the back body, the space between the shoulder blades, beneath the shoulder blades. And of course, the spine running right down the body to the tailbone. Just connecting, getting curious, bringing this friendly greeting to the body. Gratitude for the spine. May my spine be happy. Gratitude for the body, its ease and function, but also its disease and discomforts. The body's doing the best that it can. This body is all we have. It's mothering us into being. And as we learn to do with our own parents, they do the best they can. The body does the best it can. Letting your awareness flow into the belly. Just sensing into the fullness of the belly. Coming home to the softening belly. Let the breath breathe itself. May my belly be happy. And all the lower digestive organs, the intestines, may they be strong and healthy. Letting your awareness drop into the pelvis, the bladder, any reproductive organs down here. May these also be strong and healthy. May they be at ease. The pelvic floor, sensing into the aliveness. All sorts of other emotions, other things might come up as we move into this space, which we don't usually spend a lot of time, as with the top of the head, the other side of the chakra system as well. You might not feel as comfortable to rest your attention here, but just bring a little compassion if that's the case, knowing that you're doing the best you can. And sensing into the fullness of the hips. May my hips be at ease. Can you feel the breath flowing all the way down into the hips, to the tailbone, the sit bones, that contact with the ground or the cushion or the couch or chair? And letting your awareness flow into the thighs, the upper legs. May my legs be strong. May my knees be happy. This internal shower starting to flow all the way down into the ankles and the feet. Let your awareness slowly make its way towards the toes. Maybe you feel some contact with the ground or the knot body. Just notice this sensations, whatever they might be. Buzzing, tingling, pressure, warmth, coolness, aliveness in the body. You are welcome here, whatever sensations are present in your legs and your feet, your ankles. There's space for you. May you be happy. And feel now that this scan has flowed all the way to the toes, that there is a sense of connection right back up to the belly, to the heart, to the hands, to the head. Just feel the whole body sitting together, resting in this spacious, loving presence. May my whole body be happy. May my whole body, my whole self be healthy and strong. May my whole body be at ease. And just let yourself be in the moment, be in the flow for a little longer. As the sound of the bell fades, letting yourself come back into the room, back into our circle here tonight. Pausing to notice how you feel now, keeping that sense of connection. And I think a body scan can be very relaxing, but especially when we bring a sense of compassion into whatever's our experience. So I almost feel like don't have any questions for you anymore, and instead I open the floor for any thoughts, questions, reflections you have from any of the practices we did today so far. Well, we're done with our practices, but so far in the retreat. What was that like for you? Anything you want to share? Anything that was easy or difficult or anything at all?
I'll say that can you hear me, Zoe?
I can.
Yeah, I really, really like the Qigong and the meditation together.
Yeah.
And then also doing another meditation after the Qigong. That was really, really good. I like that a lot.
Good.
I agree. I like the Qigong, and I liked the meditative part first, then the Qigong, and then the meditative after. I feel totally relaxed, but in tune with myself and my body. So it was really nice. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I know it was like a Qigong sandwich or meditation sandwich.
Well, it was a good one.
It was delicious.
I
And
also find it much easier sometimes to meditate with listening to you rather than doing my own guiding through meditation. It seems to I pay more attention, or I don't wander so much.
yes,
Right.
yes. Yeah, the nice thing, the body scan is kind of like the route is set, the path is set. As long as you can, you can go, well, I mean, you can kind of jump around, but usually you go one direction or the other.
Yeah.
And so if your mind does wander and you're doing it on your own, you could be like, oh, where was I? Okay, shoulders. All right.
Right.
Now I know
Exactly.
what's next, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
Um, so I'm really interested, I love meditation and Qigong. I'm really interested in breath work. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm curious as to how much of the activities that you'll be doing during this retreat have to do specifically with breath work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Were you here? You were here when we started the little practice at the beginning, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's just a little kind of connecting to the breath, I feel like, which is super helpful. But in terms of what else we're doing, I've been considering, I haven't even decided yet if we were going to do a little alternate nostril breathing because I feel like
Right.
that's
Right.
another balancing thing. It's in my mind as maybe a settling meditation. And then
Yeah.
I want to, tomorrow we'll do less active Qigong, but we'll do a standing and walking meditation. And before standing and walking, I want to do a work with the idea of the three dantians, the three sort of centers, different centers of the body that way. And that kind of uses a little bit of breath work.
Mhm.
So yeah, a little bit. Some of it's just a
Yeah.
sense of the
Yeah.
body. You know, it's all kind of blended in.
It does. It does. I've just been finding that since I've been working with the breath, the meditation has gotten even deeper. Just going
Yeah,
to places that I wouldn't normally go. It's a very specific type of breath
yeah.
that I've been doing. Yeah, just
Oh, that's
Well,
nice.
takes you to another level.
I haven't done meditation so much. I've done a little Qigong, and I have found with that it really regulated my breathing. And I was very conscious of the inhale and the exhale, and when to do that with the procedure you were working on.
Yeah.
And I found that to be I agree. I think the breathing part will become more important to me because it does settle you and it gets you into, I don't know, a rhythm or something that is quite relaxing, and I don't know how to describe it, but I think I will enjoy that part a lot.
Yeah, the Qigong is nice that way. Sometimes people can find it challenging to work with the breath occasionally. Not everybody, but especially folks with history of
Well,
trauma.
I have found that if the
Yeah.
instructor tells you when to inhale and when to exhale, because sometimes you can get it backwards and it doesn't
Hmm.
seem to flow as
Yeah.
well. So if they
Yeah.
tell you, exhale, inhale with this part and then exhale on that part,
Yeah.
then I can get really into a rhythm. And it's, I find myself standing there doing it. And I was doing it tonight with my eyes not closed, but just enough to, I suppose, to keep my balance, but just, I feel like I'm in this dream state and I just kind of am floating and doing the procedure. And it's a really calming thing. Really enjoy it. And I haven't done it in a while. And so I'm going to get back into it because I found a really calming thing. It's just a matter of, finding the time, the usual thing to find the time and spend every day finding that time to go through it. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, like how you can fit in a regular practice, integrate it into sort of daily life, because that is tricky. I think maybe tomorrow, I don't remember, one of the days I talk a little bit more. I think tomorrow we talk a little bit how to like view it as a habit and how to kind of reinforce the habit or make space for what you want in that way. Um, One question I want to ask you guys, I'm remembering now, is with loving kindness, the metta practice, is that something you've encountered much of before? That sort of phrasing, the extending of well wishes to yourself?
Yes,
I
I
have
have.
never done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing, a loving kindness practice, something I've done a little bit of, but here we just did it in a slightly different way, kind of through the body, with a fairly standard one of like, may I be happy, may I be
Mhm.
healthy and strong, may I be at ease. But really, there's so many other things you can say too. And reason I mention this is one of the activities in the book, and what I've done with other meditation classes before, a really lovely activity, is to take a moment and pause and reflect about what do I need right now, and even kind of like a basic, universal human need, like I need to feel loved, I need to feel secure, I need to trying to think, I need to trust, some of these kinds of things. This is just what comes, they're all the similar, must be what I need to work on. Coming up to me. But and then you're expressing that to yourself in that kind of phrasing as a wish, a longing from the heart. Again, not
Mhm.
really an affirmation. So that's where you can be like, may I feel loved? May my eyes feel loved, right? We typically kind of do it less with the body and more with the whole self, but you can send it to your body. You can think about yourself. So this is some of the reflection if you want to, after the class here. Now, what do I need? And how can I put that into a phrase with like, may I know that I am secure. You can use different language. May I begin to trust. If it feels a little further away. And the other question is, what do I need to hear? Maybe if this was something that was whispered in your ear every day, that would make life feel more complete, right? So sort of thinking about kind of getting in touch and getting into connection with sort of the emotional body a little bit that often lives in the physical body, with what you might need to hear, and kind of letting yourself explore that a little bit too. So that's a fun activity, which I encourage you to start to kind of use your own language for that compassionate voice, for that loving kindness. Yeah. It's kind of like a homework task should you choose to accept it. No quizzes or anything, so it's all at your own. Or something to consider for future as well. Yeah.
That's the cool thing. One of the cool things I love about the breath. So, you're talking about making time for meditation and making it a practice. Recently, I was somewhere standing in line and I just was getting so frustrated that I had to stand in line and I couldn't get down on the cushion and get into the lotus position, but I just started to really focus on my breath just
Yeah.
while I was standing there. Nobody knew. And it's almost like I saw it as, instead of a nuisance that I had to wait in line, just an opportunity,
Yeah.
just really
Yeah.
an opportunity to get embodied right
Yeah.
there and then,
Absolutely.
just
Yeah.
get embodied. It's with us all the time.
Right.
It's
Right.
with us
And not
all the
only the breath,
time.
but we'll do a little bit of this tomorrow as well in our meditation practice, celebrating those moments of return, and the way that you have this opportunity to anchor, to do that anchoring with either the breath or the body. The body's with us all the time too, Sound is another one where we can anchor into and become aware of the sound. You can use listening as an object of meditation. There's a few different things that are always there. So much of life, you can do it with the eyes and vision and seeing too. So much of life is always there, and
Always there.
it's an opportunity to be more here with whatever's there. Sort of a weird riddle. So yeah, that's where we'll kind of head tomorrow. We'll do a little more on presence and returning and how to keep returning, whether it's through a meditation practice, working with the wandering mind and ways to anchor and to allow yourself to kind of titrate between concentration, anchored, and kind of flowing and openness.
Mm.
And then we're going to do a walking meditation, which helps both kind of link into, again, something where usually if we're lucky enough to have able-bodied legs, something we do many times during the day, walk to the toilet, walk downstairs, upstairs, to the kitchen, whatever, walk, let alone out of the house to other places. The ability to kind of bring that presence into step by step of a walking meditation. Something we'll explore a little bit more tomorrow as well.
Great.
Yeah, so thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank
It's been
you.
wonderful.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah,
Learned a
good.
lot.
I'm so
Really,
glad.
really nice.
Good. Yeah. Take this nice, warm connection, peaceful feeling, and into the rest of your night, or take it to bed. And we'll be back for some more tomorrow.
Okay. Thanks, Zoe.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Good night.